Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. Playoffs are here. We turned the corner into 2026. So many things to catch up on. Let me bring in my co-host, Louisville, Kentucky, Mr. Brandon Rush. I don't even know where to begin. We have so many things to get you. We had the bowl show last week. We're into the Final Four. Depending on when you're listening to the show, we've got playoffs are set. Everything going on. How are you? How are your holidays? And where do we start?
Holidays were very uneventful, which is always a good thing when you don't have drama elsewhere, because, I mean, there's enough out there to be had for sure. Yeah, we're in uncharted territory, it kind of feels like, because it's the first time in 10 years that we haven't had Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, or Clemson at this stage of the college football playoff. And it's the first time since the last century that we have seen an NFL playoffs without Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning. So we are in a world where we have a lot of unknowns. There's been a lot of changes in the landscape of sports, especially the college sports. And we're starting off a new year with like Michael Bublé said, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. And it's a good time to be signed up, because I know a lot of people that got their
most people did. I also got kicked in college football as well. We went 4-1 on Sunday. I actually had 2 more games, so 6-1 last Sunday. Everybody went deeper into profit. We had a really good run up to the Sunday as well. So last week went really well. You know, we got really unlucky in the Tampa game, and I wanted to talk more about. By the way, before we get into the football, although we're kind of there now, when is the last day that you should be saying Happy New Year to people? I'm one of those. I'm guilty of saying Happy New Year probably longer than I should. Is there a cutoff for you, or you just go until it doesn't feel right?
For the general public, it is, I would say, the second or third. But unless it's someone you know fairly well that you haven't seen since before the holidays, then it would be like, hey, Happy New Year, how are you? Even if that is like the 7th, 8th, 10th. Once it gets into the 15th,
Larry David says the 4th. I think the 4th is probably a pretty good cutoff. But if I say it beyond that, it's not like I'm going to lose any sleep over it. I mean, sometimes you just lead in with that. But
as long as you aren't saying it.
Yeah, I mean, by then we got to be wishing people Happy Valentine's Day and other things. So FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today. Like I said, we kind of brushed over last week. Last week went great. People are mad all the time in sports gambling because of decisions they make on their own without us. We got an email on. I went in. I rarely go in anymore because it's just so irritating. But I saw we got an email that said, I think it was Saturday. It said, what happens if I don't make money with these picks this week? Well, what happens is you lose. It's sports gambling. It's sports gambling. Let me repeat. It's sports gambling.
Right.
There are going to be a few losing weeks in sports gambling. This is why I don't handle customer service, because it's impossible to tell somebody the obvious without sounding like a total jerk. But it's the truth. It's just not Walmart. This is not Amazon. If we lose, you lose in sports gambling. That's how that works. When you lose, I lose. When you win, I win. Last week was not a losing week. So I returned. I went in. I sent the guy a couple things. I said, first, it's not Walmart. You want to win, get signed up. But even though we are going to have a losing week now and then, number 2, if you lost last week, you're doing something wrong. You need to read the recommended bet. I don't know what you're doing wrong. I can't explain it to you, but I know you're doing something wrong, because all we can do is send out the plays, tell you how to bet them, and then we know the results because I'm betting. My bankroll goes up and down. Your bankroll goes up and down. Thousands of people around the country, bankroll goes up and down. When we lose, we come on and talk about it. Last week was a great week, a very good week. So 4-1 on Sunday, 2 extra units play. The extra play, in hindsight, if I could do something over in 2025, I would make every one of the extra plays that I put out. Basically, when I put out extra plays when I don't love a game or there's nothing on, but we're winning, so people want to play. I feel like giving it whatever information we have is important, rather than just guessing or throwing darts. I would make all those extra plays triple, double, secret star locks of the millennium, because
hashtag secret bets would be firing off.
They're literally so solid. The extra plays are so solid. We had over in the Rams on Sunday. We had Pittsburgh. We ended up getting a little bit lucky late, but they got there as extra plays. And then we went 4-1 with the other plays and got a little bit lucky, a little unlucky in one game. Tampa Bay on Saturday They get a field goal blocked or an extra point blocked, and we lose that. But overall, really good week. We had 3-1 in the playoffs, the college football playoffs, and that's where you had kind of started with this. And we'll get back to the NFL. Obviously, there are fewer games going, so we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about them. But going back to last week, we went 3-1 with our plays, and then the extra plays, I think, went 1-1. So 5-4-2 or whatever it is, but 3-1. The only loss, and Brandon, I went on the radio on Friday around the country, and the only loss we had during the playoffs the last round was Texas Tech, and we had I made $4,000 on a loss. So I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. It was a weird situation to be in, especially like if someone came in as a weekly client, they're just gonna be like, oh, that was just a bad pick. But we know, regardless of what happened in that game, we were cashing a ticket one way or the other. And unfortunately, the bigger one died, but it had a $4,000 payoff for you.
Those of you who don't know, I had released, most everybody knows listens to the show, but I had released Texas Tech to win the national championship at 80-1 or better back in early part of September with the intention of when they got to the playoffs, and I felt like they were the class of the Big 12, that we would hedge out of that play, which is exactly what we did. Hedging means basically bet the other side, the other team on the money line to win their games as they head through the playoffs. When you get a ticket at even 50-1, you're able to do that with no risk. You're going to win money, and you basically get paid off for a good decision you made back in early September, which we did. So that was the only loss. I will tell you, though, Brandon, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it was so, it seemed like a long time ago. But if those two teams played again, I would probably release Texas Tech again. They might be the better team. Two things I did not factor in, and we're talking about the release in the game, not the big ticket, because I had 1,000 win 82,000. I bet 5,000 on the opposite team on Oregon on the money line. So take away the 1,000 that I lost for the big ticket, $4,000 approximate profit. Money line was like minus 125 or something. If they played again, I might release Texas Tech again. The two things I did not factor in. Number one, it's really, really almost impossible to figure in, is the quarterback was overwhelmed by the moment. He was absolutely in the deep end of the pool, did not handle that well, a lot like guy getting yips. I mean, just basically did not handle it at all. It's impossible to know in college football, especially when you're not talking about Alabama or Ohio State or one of those teams that's there a lot. It's impossible to know which players will play like they have all year, which players will rise to the occasion, and then the few that will just, this is too much. This is
get the deer in the headlights and just be overwhelmed by the moment. It's very hard to distinguish, like you said, when especially in programs who haven't been at this level before, which kind of makes Indiana's
and the reality is most players either play the same or elevate. That's the truth. I mean, these guys have played in big moments. They played in front of lots of people. Once the ball's kicked off, they don't really react to that. But there are a few that, for whatever reason, can't get out of their own head. Texas Tech's quarterback absolutely was in that boat. He couldn't throw the ball into the ocean. I mean, literally was throwing to the other team, holding it too long, doing things he hadn't done all year. That team had covered and won every single game this year. Think about that, Brandon. When he started, they covered. They not only won, they covered. That is not done in college football. It's not done in the NFL. It's not done. Most teams, at least with the market, are going to get caught up with. Texas Tech never did. That's the first thing. Couldn't factor that in. Number two, and more important, if you told me right now one of the teams is going to turn the ball over 4 times, the other team's not, I'm going to take the team that's not going to turn it over 4 times. At this level, everybody's good. Everybody's kind of evenly matched, especially this year. We don't have an Ohio State. We don't have a team that's just so superior to everybody else. Indiana is the best team going into these Final Four, but they're not. If Indiana turns it over 4 times this week, or Ole Miss does, or Miami, or it doesn't matter, whoever does, they're going to lose. They're going to lose, and I'm certainly not going to bet my money on them. So those are the two things: turnovers, quarterback being overwhelmed by the moment. Defense played more than good enough, or.
Yeah, they did everything that a Texas Tech fan could have asked for.
The most surprising thing to me coming out of the weekend is the fact that Indiana is only a 4-point favorite over Oregon. I'm still trying to figure out who Oregon has beaten, who they've played that we're putting them in this type of tier. Now, they generate some turnovers against Tech. Great job.
Sure.
Congratulations. Gold star. Love it. But Other than that, they lose to Indiana on their home field. They were lucky to beat Penn State, lucky to beat Illinois, didn't play Michigan or Ohio State during the regular season. Tell me Oregon's best win. Who is this team beaten that we should be that they should be only a 4-point underdog against the most balanced team for sure, a team that's been battle tested, frankly, a team that beat them on their own home field. It wasn't one of those 6 turnover type thing or 4 turn. They just beat them. So it would make me a little bit nervous if I was an Indiana fan, although I do think people will. The name on the front of the jersey always matters.
Sure, and especially with sports bettors, they're going to see they're going to think that the names of the past and everything that Oregon has become it factors into this game, and it, like you said, when the ball kicks off,
hard to fade that Nike money sometimes. So I mean, they got some nice jerseys going on there, and they are in the Final Four. Congratulations. To your point, the bigger picture, Brandon, is what do we do with the SEC? We've got Ole Miss, this Ole Miss team that looks like it's literally like walking into an episode of Jerry Springer and looking around and seeing that mom is sleeping with the brother-in-law. This guy's beating on his girlfriend. It's the most dysfunctional team, certainly in the SEC. And maybe in the country with everything going and still going on. We're not even done. We're not even done with this. They're still talking about what coaches are going to coach, it's so dysfunctional with what's going on in college football. And we're getting kind of a bird's eye view, magnifying glass of what's occurring in college football in this capsule of Ole Miss. Yet they're the only SEC team left.
Sometimes it pays to be the most dysfunctional.
And playing well at the right time. That game, we'll break down these games a little bit. Miami and Ole Miss these are 2 totally different situations. Indiana, it doesn't matter when they're playing. This team has been solid, rock solid from start to finish. They just dominate their opponents. They're really good on defense. The quarterback is ice water in his veins. Oregon has not a lot of good wins, but has really gotten a lucky run of it, in my opinion. But they are very good and more than competent and ready for this moment. The other 2 teams, hot at the right time. These 2 teams have gotten hot at the right time. I always fascinates me, Brandon. By the way, FatJackSports.com. We're to spend a lot of time on the nothing to do with gambling. We'll talk about the gambling part of this. Miami 3.5 to 4-point favorite over Ole Miss. Total 52.5 in the first game. Oregon. Indiana 4.5, maybe 5. Brandon, you see in the line there, 46 or so.
Yeah, 4.5 pretty much everywhere at this time, and that number, like you said, seems kind of low considering everything that's happened. But to your point, I think the name brand and the hard to beat a team twice in the same year theory might be swaying that line maybe just a little bit more than.
And most of the pressure on Indiana. So we'll talk about that. My clients are going to get the best plays. We may give away a play or 2 here, but it will be a play that I'm probably not going to release. But so if you want to win, get signed up. FatJackSports.com. This time of year, there's no reason not to sign up. If you want to win money betting on sports, period, over the long run, now is the time. Actually, last week was the time, right before the first of the year. The lowest price of the entire year. You could pay out the service fee for 10 months. Get all the plays, including baseball season, for free. The World Cup's coming this summer. You can add on soccer for about $20 a week. All of that. Last week, literally could pay it out over the entire year for about a couple $100 a month. If you want to get all the sports, it was a little more than that, but you're getting all the plays and you're getting them the minute you sign up. Now, a couple $100 more for the same plays. You can pay it out over 8 months, not 10 months. So your monthly payments package is going to be a little bit higher, but so much better than it's going to be going forward after the Super Bowl, after March Madness, into the summer. Not only would you miss all the plays between now and then because your package starts when you sign up, the day you sign up, you're going to pay a lot more if you wait. So go to FatJackSports.com. Now is the time to get signed up if you want to make money betting on sports consistently. Some of you don't. Some of you don't care. You're okay losing, and you'll only reach out whenever you get really bad or whenever things go really bad, and then you'll hope that I can pull you back up a little bit. And you know what? If you do that, that's fine. I make more money that way. Because if you wait until August or September to sign up, you're paying almost $1,000 more than if you sign up now. If you sign up weekly, you're paying weekly. And I have guys that do this every fall. They'll sign up and pay $229 every single week. If you do that in September and decide to do that in football, so you're paying weekly what you would pay monthly to win in football right now.
Hmm.
You pay once a month now. You get all the plays between now and the Super Bowl. You get the bigger package, get football and basketball. You're paying a little bit more monthly, not weekly. And you get the baseball season for free. You get all the summer stuff. You get the horse racing. Now is the time. Or if you want to sign just this weekend, if you're that guy and you just can't see, you got terminal.
You don't have the long-term vision, or
you're going to go to Venezuela and take over the oil company, and you can't bet there. I mean, something's going on with you that you can't bet full time. Then get the week. You get the week at $99. If you sign up Saturday, you get $99. If you want the college also, it's going to cost a little bit more. It's like $169. The package. If you're listening on the podcast right now, the prices are up. They will not go down until Friday. They'll go down about $20 on Friday. I'll just easy math here. $169 for football through Monday night's playoffs, NFL and college. You sign up Friday, it's going to be $149. You sign up Saturday, $129 or $99, depending on how those games go on Saturday, on Thursday, Friday. They go down. It goes down. You sign up on Monday, you're going to pay $99. You sign up on Saturday, or Saturday at late, you're going to pay $99. So get signed up at FatJackSports.com if you want to win. Consider winning long term. That's the thing to do, guys. I mean, just stop guessing and start winning. So anyway, that's kind of the breakdown of the games. Anything jump out? What SEC team is looking at themselves right now saying what happened?
I mean, you could be Alabama in a sense to look and see that all the coaches that are remaining in the college football playoff are all former Alabama assistants, so they might feel the worst. I mean, Georgia obviously for me is going to be the team that probably looks back at this with the most regret. They get a bye. By the way, 2-8 or 2-6 so far. The teams that had the bye in the playoff, which is wild. Which to my point means is another piece of evidence that if you get a bye, you should also get a home game, because 2-6 just isn't worth it. But yeah, I think Georgia probably feels the worst about not being here, just because I think defensively they had been really good and they just had the worst time.
So what do you attribute the 2-6 to? We're kind of jumping around, but is it just a small sample size? I mean, you can go through those 2 wins and 6 losses individually and say, all right, well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. If you want to throw a big blanket over it, it is, okay, the bye teams are not doing well. Is it because they're having a layoff, or is it because they're very evenly matched teams? In some cases, you have teams that won their conference that are playing in the conference championship because of the way the conferences break down. Maybe they weren't a better team. Were they even favored? And were they favored by a lot? Or you could say, do you have a guess? Because the NFL, it's the opposite. The NFL, over the history of the NFL, mm-hmm. and certainly in the last 20 years, the bye helps. The rest helps. I mean, we have wild card weekend that you'll have dogs that do okay. In the next round, it's almost all favorites. So from a historical standpoint.
It probably is. Yeah, it probably is the smaller sample size, and we'll see if that bears out going forward, and that's if they keep the buys and keep it at 12 teams. I'm flabbergasted though to try and figure out what the SEC did. How did they get this far? And Ole Miss is the team that is
and without their head coach, without the running backs coach, they got guys quitting
as the college
guys
football
quitting
world
weekly.
turns.
We're heading into the semis. I got teams, guys going on to LSU. It really is so, and it's so distasteful, Brent. It's so the opposite of what college football should be, especially from somebody that's over 50. It is just about money. Everything is just about money. It's only the money. It's not even about winning. It's not about winning championships. It's only the money. And I get money being a big part of it. I'm all for profit sharing and all for play. But this is you're in the semifinals and you're leaving as a coach. What did we sign up for? We sign up to win championships if we're a coach. And by the way, coaches this time of year seem always, this is like as the world, because they piss me off so much this time of year, every single year. Coaches are so bad. They've given me such a body of work to show how bad a lot of them are this time of year. By the way, how do you – Ole Miss's quarterback is only starting because the other guy got hurt. I'm curious as to how – and this goes across the board, college and the NFL. How do these coaches look themselves in the mirror and look their team in the mirror and say, yeah, I can assess talent. I know who's better. And I don't.
But to that point, how much? I think it goes deeper than that. did somebody's agent be like, hey, if you really want this contract to work out, this guy needs to be
That's
playing.
What I'm saying.
So you can't. I don't think you can put it all on coaches and evaluation, but to look at Trinidad Chambliss and think that your offense and your team was better with that guy on the bench, you really
now
got
from a fan standpoint, you're saying, boy, that sure is fun. That's great that they figured it out. For me,
that's how deep our team is. We can bring a guy in who was playing in JUCO last year over here.
For me, I'm saying, why are we even having off-season workouts? Why are we having spring game? Why do we even care? If we're not going to start the best players in the game, why do we even care? Or it's either that where we know he's better, but we're not going to play him because of either promises or whatever. Or I don't know how to assess talent. I don't know who's best. Because there's no question that the kid that got hurt, the only reason Ole Miss is in this spot is because their starting quarterback got hurt. And this goes across all levels of football. I don't want to hear about coaches being able to assess talent correctly. And this takes me all the way back to high school. When you're in high school and you got a kid that's a half-inch undersized and he's not getting D1 offers as a guy that is, they're just guessing. Because I don't think they're able to watch film and know who's going to be good or who's not. I think that they can go off some physical traits and maybe learn a little bit more. But the fact that a guy comes from Ferris State or whatever, nobody thought he was good. He had a lot of film. Did he all of a sudden get good? He was bad before. Now all of a sudden he's good. I don't buy that. I think the kid was good before. He just wasn't given a shot for whatever reason. Now he gets his chance. Now he's great. The whole thing is dysfunctional. Everything's about money. That is a problem for me. So FatJackSports.com, if you're speaking of money, it's better to be winning on these things. You don't want to be losing on these things. And the general public, as you said, is absolutely getting their teeth kicked in. And we're not. Like I say, we won again Sunday. I don't know. Some people, I don't know how they're upset, but they are. Basketball, I should say, basketball not going great. But this is not unusual. We've had a lot of years, last year included, where we'll have stretches of 3, 4, 5 weeks of around 500, maybe even losing 5 or 10 games. Nobody cares, because if you're on a season package, you're following the system. You see that it costs about $20 a week to add basketball, and that's the most you're going to pay to add basketball. If you sign up for the year, you're basically getting all the basketball between now and October for free. You don't pay, so you're able to lower your bets. Ride these bad stretches out where we're getting some dribble offs, getting some bad beats, throwing in some bad picks. Those things happen. And when they do, you need to be able to handle it correctly, because mark it down, Brandon. We've been doing this almost 30 years. I know exactly where basketball is. This is Titanic. I know the boat goes down. I know the old people are going to die. Nobody's going to turn a mattress into a barge or a float. That's going to happen. I'm aware of that. Basketball makes about 50 to 60 games of profit over 30 freaking years. So it's coming, and it's going to come again this year. Add that to your plays right now.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer.
Before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history is made.
If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally, set limits, and keep it fun.
When gambling becomes a problem,
visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host turning 2026 into profit. He is the Fat
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2, Wild Card Playoff Weekend, Final Four of college football. Actually, a lot going on. A lot of ways to make money. Basketball's here. We were talking about hoops off the air, and actually we wrapped up last segment. And Brandon, they'll go through periods where they're not doing great, but mark it down. They're like the Titanic. It's going to end up at the bottom of the ocean. Our picks are going to make 50 to 60 games of profit. They do every single year. They will again this year. The only people that won't make money betting on basketball are the guys that sign up for a day or a weekend or a week or even a month, don't do as well as they had hoped. They make a decision based on that and don't care about the last 30 years of basketball winners. And they quit, and then they miss on the 25-2 run, the 13-1 run, all of those that are absolutely coming. So FatJackSports.com, we talked about it before we went to break. Add the longer packages now, add all the sports now, and make money betting on sports. We're talking off the air, Brandon, about coaches being fired. You know, it's early in the week right now, and the NFL regular season's over. Pete Carroll gets fired. Stefanski gets fired at Cleveland. They fired Atlanta's coach. All these guys going out. Your thoughts on all that?
I was shocked when Pete Carroll got the Raiders job, but now that they have the number 1 pick in the draft and a new head coach, they have a lot of bargaining chips, I think, to maybe try and sway a current head coach over, or they put together a package that, especially if they know who they want to take, that would be enticing to a coach, or vice versa. If they know the coach, that could maybe impact the number 1 pick. So that'll be interesting. Cleveland's doomed. They're going to be doomed ever since they did what they did to Baker. It's obvious they've made a series of bad decisions. I like Stefanski, but his time was come, and they don't really have much of an identity because they have, I think, differing ideas of how to run the team and how to play.
I need to figure out why, because it can't be every single head coach in Cleveland stinks. It can't be every one of them can't assess talent. But my point, what we're talking about first segment, is exactly on display as it relates to the Cleveland Browns. Not only with Baker Mayfield, but this situation. Shadir Sanders, obviously the best quarterback on the roster. It takes all year long, and it cost Stefanski his job to go another way. So which is it? Did he not see any ability in practice? I mean, we saw what and I'm not saying that Shadir Sanders is an all-pro. I'm saying he's
or the franchise.
I'm saying he's the best one on the roster this year. And if you're trying to keep your job and not trying to have to sell your house in Cleveland, which you would think their head coach was trying to do, somebody explain to me how it is that he's sitting on the bench the entire first half of the year. You're getting your teeth kicked in offensively by most everybody. And again, I'm not saying he was great when he got in, but he was by far the best. So if that's the case, do you not know how to assess talent? Do you not know what you're looking at? It just seems to be so consistent with some of these coaches that they back into ways to get the best players on the field when ultimately that is their job. Their job is to find the best players and put them at different positions. So I understand the politics. If I'm a head coach, I don't care about the politics. I'm now moving. So if anybody else was telling me, if I'm the head coach of Cleveland and anybody else was telling me you got to start these other guys because we drafted them ahead of him and all these other, I'm not listening to that because I understand that come January, I'm going to need a realtor. And I'm going to have to get a new job. And I'm going to have to, my kids are going to have to go to a different school, all those type things. I'm going to start the best player. So I have to assume that they either are weak. They're the guys that are smoking vapes in middle school because they are given into peer pressure. Somebody else told me I need to do it, so I better do it. Or they don't know how to assess talent. And they're not playing the best. It's one of the two. So I don't know. It happens consistently across the league. What are you watching in practice with some of these teams? So you deserve to be fired. That's why you're not going to get a lot of sympathy from me if you're a head coach and you get fired. You know what you signed up for, and frankly, a lot of you, you're not doing enough to protect your job. FatJackSports.com. I should have been a coach, Brandon. I really should have. Other than this, that's what I would have been. I feel like I'm pretty good at assessing talent. And I think everybody does. Every fan does probably. Everybody sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings, they think they're great at assessing talent. Yeah.
No, that guy's a bum. He's always his dad.
That's
was
the most
a bum.
fan thing I've ever said. I need to be a head coach and I know how to assess talent. Literally, that is literally the fan way to approach this. But anyway, it's frustrating for sure.
Yeah, you talked about the Browns and their ineptitude, and it seems to be bred into the culture. Look at the Raiders as well. They've had 12 head coaches over the last 20 seasons. You know how many of those 12 head coaches have had a winning record?
I'm going to say 2.
Yeah. It is 2. Jack Del Rio and Rich Bisaccia. Both of them were a combined 4 games.
Yeah, it's and the scheduling within the league helps that some. You should win some no matter who you are. We're going to talk about that. Let's talk about the playoffs a little bit. FatJackSports.com. Go get signed up right now. $99 weekend if you're listening on Saturday late. $149 if you're listening before the weekend games, and even less per pick. $169 if you sign up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So get signed up. Let's talk about these playoff games. Which one jumps out? You got the Rams going to Carolina. Rams a 10-point favorite. Total 46.5 or so. Green Bay going to Chicago. Murray Parrish from Parrish Devon talked about that one. Absolutely makes me want to play the Bears now that I know he likes Green Bay. He's been super consistent. They weren't on my radar, but they now are at least on my radar. Chicago, a point and a half favorite, total 46 as well. Then we got Buffalo -1 on Sunday versus Jacksonville. That's an intriguing one to me for sure. San Francisco going to Philly -3.5. The Chargers going to New England -3.5. Then Houston and Pittsburgh on Monday night. So which of those jumps out at you as the most intriguing game? And what are your thoughts when you see the opening wild card playoff run?
The Jaguars being a home underdog is interesting because I think they are a very good team. Also, Buffalo is a good team, but this might be the worst Buffalo team that we've seen with Josh Allen at the helm, top to bottom, speaking of evaluating talent. But to see that line come out and to see a division champion at home that's playing very good ball over the last month and a half be a 1.5 point home underdog was very surprising.
Well, that's the difference is, you have Carolina that won a 17-way tiebreaker, also a divisional champion. They're a double-digit underdog to the Rams, and they're at home. So across country, you get all that West, East, all those things. Carolina, though, all their wins came as an underdog. So if you're a Carolina fan, you're like, okay, that's not a big deal. LA had one of the toughest schedules in the entire league. And actually, that division, as most people know, 3 teams out of that division in the playoffs. You got Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams, all 3 in. So that one makes a little more sense, even though Carolina is playing pretty well. Jacksonville, it's what do you believe? Do you look at the names on the front of the jerseys and believe that Josh Allen and a mediocre defense is still Buffalo? Or do you believe this Jacksonville team that we've seen over the latter part of the season, basically since they got back from London? I mean, just rolling through, dominating teams. I mean, their quarterback looks like what we thought he might look like in the beginning of his career. He is dialed in right now, throwing into real tight windows against a Buffalo team that's susceptible to both the run and the pass. So, yeah, that is absolutely the most intriguing one. What about New England? What do you make of New England? They're hosting the Chargers at home. Chargers haven't struck fear in most anybody all year, arguably limping into the playoffs. But New England's wins, they have 2 wins, Brandon. 2 wins all year. The season's over. New England has 2 wins versus teams with a plus 500 record. And 2 wins against playoff teams. Buffalo and Carolina, and Buffalo and Tampa. So this is not a team that's been tested by anybody, but they're getting a pretty good matchup, unlike Jacksonville, who's getting a really tough game.
That's probably I think that's the toughest game for anybody in round 1, really, especially as a home team. As far as the Patriots, I look at them offensively and I'm not blown away. Drake May is fine, but I feel like Drake May is this year's Brock Purdy. He's going to play behind opposite a very good defense. He's going to have some talented role players around him and a great running game. And then all we're going to hear about is how Drake May is the superstar, and just forgetting that he's.
Does nobody care that they haven't beaten anybody that's any good at all? Is that not? I mean, like Oregon.
Notre Dame tried to bang that drum, but luckily there's some sort of semblance of structure in the NFL, so they can.
Now, I'm not saying that New England's not any good. But I'm saying it's just like Oregon and like Notre Dame, and Texas A&M for that matter, that it does matter a little bit. I understand you can only play who's put in front of you. I'm aware of that saying. It's next man up. I get all the sayings in football, but I don't care about it. I'm looking for the best team who's going to be able to win and cover and make me money. And when I look at a team like New England, and I'm like, okay, who have they beaten? Who have they proven that they're better than? If they had played in the same division with the Rams, San Francisco, Seattle, how many losses or what would their record be? Because now that's where we have to land. Now they are in the AFC, so it's a little bit easier. They're going to get, Houston, Pittsburgh, both with deficiencies on different sides of the ball. I'm leaning toward Houston maybe winning the AFC now. After seeing the numbers, I do not believe. I'm going to bet. I say not believe. I'm going to bet on the fact and bank on the fact that New England is not as good as their record. They're not as good as the market's going to project them to be, and they're certainly not as good to your point of what Drake May is or isn't. That they are overvalued, and that's going to create value with some of these underdogs. Now, I don't know that it's the Chargers because
Yeah, they're too banged up. Like the offensive line's been Swiss cheese. Justin Herbert's got a broken bone in his hand. Going on the road,
Exactly.
That's
FatJackSports.com, guys. Sign up for the football season through the entire year through the Super Bowl. It's $1,899. How many weeks are in the football season? We're at week 19 right now. This is just regular season. This is not the rest of this year. This is not the preseason. This is not all the futures plays. We're in week 19 of the NFL season. We had week 0, I guess. No, we had week 0 and 1, right? No, just week 0. So 20 weeks so far. We've got 5 more left. So let's say 25 weeks, not counting the games this year. $1,899, so $1,900 divided by 25 is less than $75 or $80 a week is what you're paying for the football season if you sign up now. And that gets you the rest of this year's football season, all these playoffs, for free. If you want to make money betting on sports, this is the package. If you're a football, I only play football, Jack. I don't like baseball. I don't like basketball. I don't like horse. I don't care about anything. I don't like the sunshine. I don't like oxygen. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I only care about football. If that's you, you're still much better off signing up today, building profit between now and this year's Super Bowl, getting the best price of the year, paying out the service fee over the next 8 months, and making money consistently this year betting on the spread. Well, Jack, I've got to go to Thailand for 2 weeks during September. So what? It's still going to be less to sign up now and a better value to sign up now than it is to wait until the middle part of September and sign up. It's not even close. FatJackSports.com. If you bet once a month in football season, it's better to sign up now than it is to wait until September. Mathematically, it's going to be better because you're going to pay at least $250 or $220 or so, $200 easily. And it might be, but you're getting all this for free this between now and this year's Super Bowl. It's better to sign up now than it is to wait. FatJackSports.com. Sign up today and win this weekend. We doing okay on time? Okay, so here's my next question, Brandon. This has nothing to do with the games, other than this is the other thing I don't understand, and maybe you can enlighten me. Why would nobody guard Zay Flowers for Baltimore? Why would nobody guard Ross St. Brown, whatever his name is, for Detroit? And why would nobody this week decide to cover McMillan, number 4 for Carolina? I don't understand defenses in the NFL right now either. We've already talked about the aggressive nature of the NFL and going for it way too many times, costing yourself not only games and wins but playoff spots. Detroit's at home in part because they go for it on their own 35 more than they should. I don't want to get into the analytics. It seems like I talk about it every week. I am interested in enlighten me on why, when some of these teams have one guy that they're going to throw the ball to down the field, why you would not cover him, why you would not put a safety over the top of him, man him up, press coverage with a safety that went everywhere he went. Why are they letting guys? I understand when they got 3 or 4 options, but when you have one option to beat you, why is he running wide open? Any idea?
I mean, we can point to Travis Kelce always being open in previous years. I mean, I honestly think that defenses right now are so predicated on getting a pass rush that if they can't get a pass rush, then they have to send extra guys. When they send extra guys, puts more pressure on the rest to cover, and those guys can't cover because of whatever reason. Part of it's rules. Part of it is that defenders are, I can't say afraid to make contact, but they can't play football anymore. So sometimes they're looking just to get interceptions instead of making plays because they try to go in and break up a pass. It could be 15 for hitting a protected receiver, So
Baltimore on Sunday night had 31 or 32 yards passing in the first half. Zay Flowers was the only guy who caught anything, literally for 3 games. He 2 drives in a row is running wide open with nobody on him.
Jalen Ramsey, I think, was supposed to have him a couple times, and one he made a horrible play on a ball, and the other one he was in a different area.
I don't understand not saying, hey, let's put somebody on Zay Flowers. I mean, he might. But somebody guard 4, exactly. And same thing with McMillan for Carolina. He's a guy against Tampa. Look no further than, I mean, the announcers did a really good job of saying they're going to throw it to number 4. Somebody better guard him, and he ran behind everybody. I don't understand how this is happening. Teams are sitting at home. Baker Mayfield sweating out like a gambler. The game on Sunday between New Orleans and Atlanta, sweating it out when all they needed to do was guard number 4. To me, it's really a travesty. So FatJackSports.com. Like I said, we can talk about these things when you're 4-1 on Sunday, 2-0 with the extra plays, 1 all week long in football. Had a bunch of extra plays at 1 as well. Guys making a lot of money betting on sports. So get signed up today and make money betting this season. In Pittsburgh, speaking of the Steelers, they have I think I found my next thing. I'm going to run with the Bulls this summer, but they have a parallel parking championship in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh? Parallel parking champion. I mean, it was alliteration purposes makes sense that it's in Pittsburgh.
I don't want to toot my own horn, Brand. I'm not great at everything. But I have about 4 skills, and I blame it on the fact that I think I'm an undiagnosed dyslexic also. I think I'm dyslexic, but I've never been diagnosed that. It's really helped with the way my brain thinks is maybe it's a ton of money betting on sports for whatever reason. But I blame it on that. I'm really, really good at parallel parking. So I think next year I'm going to go to the parallel parking championships of the country or the world or whatever in Pittsburgh.
I wonder if I'm curious if there are different events. If it's because like parallel parking when you have a one way when you have a spot on your left side, tough because it's opposite from normal. But also if there's hills involved, that's the thing that I want to see. I want to see parallel parking on the left side.
Maybe this is a Lollapalooza opportunity. Maybe I don't think it is. I think it's just one event. Maybe this is what I should be doing in the summer. In like June, instead of running with the Bulls in July and putting my life on the line, instead of doing whatever it is I do in June besides wrapping up the NBA season and getting ready for football, maybe we should put on the parallel parking championship. Is there enough interest in that? Do people think they're good parallel parkers? Because I do. I think I'm really good at parallel parking.
I can show you many a downtown city full of people who.
All right, so that's all we need. I don't even care if they are or they aren't. I mean, we can figure it out. There's a world championship of massage. I know there is a thing because my masseuse won the world championship of massage. It was in Denmark. I know it's the dumbest thing in the world. She trains a lot of the NBA staff. I say that she probably listens to the show. Not dumb, super sweet. You're a queen. But there is. It's in Denmark. You can look it up, Google it. And she won like 3 years ago. Won the world championship of massage. So there's a world championship of massage. If there's a world championship of that, why can't there be one of parallel parking? Let's give away a big trophy and some cash or something. Where would we have that? I don't want to do New York or Pittsburgh, someplace really busy, but you got to go where people are doing a lot of. People are horrible parking in California. Horrible. So okay. I don't know that that's the spot, but we definitely need some place. Let's table that because that's an idea.
We'll put a pin in that's a springtime
That's a March deal. FatJackSports.com. What's not a March deal is getting signed up right now, making money all year long. When we get back from the break here in a minute, we're going to have a longer third segment because I'm going to give away 2 free winners in the third segment. And we're going to talk a little bit about basketball maybe, but probably just work on the playoff games. I don't want to give away a lot of free winners because the only thing I'm pretty sure of is that Murray is wrong in his pick. I love Murray, and I want Murray to be right, but those of you listening around the country, this will make no sense. But Green Bay going to Chicago, I mean, if he likes Green Bay, I can't not like Chicago. The proof is in the numbers. So interesting to see where I land on that one as we get deeper into it. What do you think? Is double digits too many for the Rams at Carolina?
I kind of think so, especially – considering the way that the Rams looked down the last few weeks. I mean, they're defensively been a little bit too loose for my liking, and they've had to rely on Nakua and Stafford putting together some big plays down the stretch to get them on the right side late in games. But 10 feels like a lot, especially for a team that is I can't say they're peaking at the right time because they're 9-8. I mean, it's hard to peak when you're 9-8, but yeah, on the road as a 10-point favorite against a division champion. Feels a bit
open
steep
at 10 and moved to 10.5. And we're talking about receivers running wide open. I wasn't even going to put Travis Kelce and Puka Nacua in that conversation, because those guys have ways of getting open that I don't know that you could put enough guys on them. Kelce in most of his career.
And they're next level skill guys. I'm not putting Zay Flowers and McMillan.
Right. That's what really was my point. Is that I'm just talking when they have one weapon. Let's guard the one weapon. I mean,
these aren't Hall of Famers that are getting open. These are general.
Yeah, some of the
guys.
easiest money we've made all year has been over the total on Puka Nacua's receptions. We should have had
catches.
more on Rob St. Brown or whatever his name is, because he's another one of those guys that just is getting touches no matter what the defensive scheme is. So, the Rams opened 10 up at 10.5. They immediately were bet up. Actually, I think people just think that's a talent mismatch. But you're right. Even this last week's win with the Rams, they against Arizona, they struggled for half that game. I mean, at least for half, maybe into the third quarter, and then finally things clicked and they got it going. The last time these two teams played, Carolina's one of them that beat them, and it's because they turned the ball over a bunch of times. So clearly, Stafford's going to have to protect the ball a little bit more. But yeah, some of these games, really, really good games coming up this weekend. We're going to make a lot of money on these games. So get signed up today and win, not only this weekend, but all year long.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and for the final team this week, here is our host, a man who is ready to guide us through the playoffs, both in college and the NFL, which kick off this week. He is the...
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour segment number 3, wrapping up the playoff edition, the wild card playoff edition of the show. By the time next week rolls around, Brandon, we'll have our 2 final teams in college football. We'll be wrapping that up. Overall, what have you thought about the playoffs in college football, and do you think they should expand? Where are you on that before we get into wrapping this thing up?
I like the way it is now. I would kind of like to see a cap on the number of teams that can get in from a certain conference. I think that would shift some things out down. It would sort of trickle down to where there's smaller conferences instead of these big giant 16-team super conferences. But I like the format. I just want that the teams that get buys to also get home games. But I've enjoyed this format since we went to it over the last few years. Had some intriguing games. That Ole Miss Georgia game was electric, and I feel like Oregon Indiana for me is the national championship game because I think they're both markedly better than Miami, and I doubt that Ole Miss is going to be able to keep this hot run going as they've done
while losing coaches at the same time. Although they are hot and they are very athletic, and defensively they're athletic and strength.
I think they're underrated defensively because everyone points to Alabama's defense and Georgia's defense and Oklahoma's defense. We're all probably ranked a lot better than Ole Miss. They might have the best defense.
We talk about getting hot at the right time in the NFL. I don't know why it doesn't apply here either. I mean, I could see either of those teams running the gauntlet and winning it all. I mean, Ole Miss's quarterback doesn't seem to care about pressure, and Miami's quarterback's been there. I mean, he was there with Georgia, and Carson Beck has done it. So I think both those teams I think it's been great. I would expand. I would go to 16. I would not have the big gaps. I mean, 21 days off between games. Let's finish it earlier.
Yeah, that needs to
let's
change too,
just go the next week. 16 teams. Add 4 more. Go the next week. Nobody needs a bye. A bye is playing. When we're talking about what the bye did for you or didn't do for you when you got the bye, it's been bad. They're 2-6. So I think most of the teams. It'd be interesting to see what these coaches say after the fact. Like Oregon's coach, did they benefit from playing James Madison, or the team that played Tulane? Those type spots, did they benefit from that, or were they better off not doing anything and simulating games for 21 days? I think most would say, yeah, I think we're better off staying in a rhythm. Well, if you add in 4 more teams, your top seeds would be getting, instead of buys, they would be getting those games against inferior opponents. That allows the non-Power 4 conferences to have teams a seat at the table to try to get better, which I've been a proponent of, instead of marking them out entirely. And let's play football, finish it a little bit earlier. Lanning made a good point. They do. Head coach of Oregon was talking that he said we're doing a lot for the NFL. We're basically a training ground for the NFL. We're giving up days, and it's costing. We're going a lot longer, having these bigger gaps because we're doing what the NFL wants. The NFL doesn't pay for this. That we're already their AAA, and they're not helping us at all in this. I'm not sure that we should be folding to them as much, and I don't think the general public would care about that. I think that especially in week 17 or 18 or whatever, having a playoff game that the NFL could move some of those off their prime spots if they don't want to be in competition, and it's not going to hurt anything. Who's watching week 18 games other than a handful of games for anything other than it's football season?
No one was watching Chiefs Raiders unless they had money on it.
Easiest money we made all week long.
I would have.
We had under.
I would have much rather been watching a playoff game,
Yeah, so they can do both. I think they expand, keep a seat at the table for the non-power four. They finish earlier. Let's not have the big gaps. Still run the bowl games. I like the bowl games. I've said before they need to consolidate them a little bit, get more money out of the sponsors, put that money into NIL, giving both an incentive for these teams to play in the bowl games. The Tulanes of the world, if they're not in the playoff, or Mississippi State or whoever, NIL money goes in, and also player money. Instead of giving them an Xbox, you play in the game and you guys win, you get $2,500. You lose, you get $1,000 or something like that. Give them money. I think we can lean into the financial part of college football in some respects. Other respects, it's got to get under control because there's too many things going on that are loose ends. Philadelphia over San Francisco, free winner number 1. I don't love everything Philly does, and it is a little bit difficult for me not to put the Philadelphia that we've seen over the last few years into this breakdown because they do seem to figure out a way to turn the light switch and get going. I do not believe that San Francisco, from a defensive standpoint, with all the players they've lost, are going to be able to compete consistently at this level. And frankly, offensively, they're really one-dimensional. They're Christian McCaffrey, and then what else? And as you grow up and you get these better teams that can get a pass rush with 4, Philadelphia can do that. You're going to have trouble getting McCaffrey as involved. And I don't think their defense can stop Barkley and company. I think that they've had too many injuries. Warner starting with it, but really up and down the defense. So Philadelphia minus the points at home. That seems like one of the easier ones. Also, as much as I love Pittsburgh, and we didn't talk about this, Brandon, we should. How much time do we have? All right, good. Well, let's talk about Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh, just like Texas Tech, one of those teams that I gave out preseason to make the playoffs with the intent of being paid off for a good decision that we made months ago. All they had to do is make the playoffs. Tampa's the only one that let us down. I guess I should say Tampa and New Orleans because New Orleans wins they're in. But you get better than 25-1. I bet $1,000 on them. I have $1,000. I want to say on Pittsburgh to win 28,000. I have 1,000 on the Rams to win 22,000. Here's my plan this week. I am not going to hedge the Rams. I'm going to gamble. Double-digit favorites typically do not lose in the playoffs. If they lose, oh well, I lost. But if they win, I'm going to have a better hedge opportunity next week. I am going to hedge the Pittsburgh bet. So at 25-1, so 1,000, it's 28-1 actually. 1,000 to win 28,000. I'm going to bet 3,000 on Houston on the money line on Monday night, and so I'm going to make a little bit. I'm not going to make a lot, but I'm going to profit from a good decision. I don't want to get too deep into that because if Pittsburgh figures out a way to win, and by the way, if you don't think Pittsburgh has any chance to win, you could bet up to $8K. If you have 1,000 or 100, you could bet 800. And on the money line, you're going to win, $400 or $500 if you do that, because Houston's going to be the favorite, and you're going to have to lay some on that. But I'm going to bet Houston on the money line for somewhere between 3 and 4x, depending on how I feel leading up to it, to get paid off for a good decision I made back in September. But the Rams, I'm going to let ride. I'm not going to do anything with it. They were the lowest of the odds. I think they're 22-1. 1,000 to win 22,000. So I'm going to let that ride. If they lose, I just lose. But that's how I'm handling those. And we'll send an email out to everybody that's a client that will get that information as well, what I recommend doing exactly as we get closer to the games. FatJackSports.com. If these are problems you want to have, you want to make money based on information I gave you in August or September for doing nothing more than just following it. You don't have to do anything more than just open the app, click Rams to win the Super Bowl at 22-1, click. Houston or Pittsburgh 28-1 to win the Super Bowl, click. You're going to get paid off for that decision just by signing up. FatJackSports.com. Don't miss this weekend. Don't miss this year. 2026 is going to be great. World Cup coming up this summer. Add those plays, very inexpensive now versus waiting until right before the World Cup. They're going to cost you about $1,200. Now they cost about $200 a week at the most. So, $20 a week at the most. $20 a week. When you add the $200 a week, that'd be nice. $20 a week when you add them to your football and basketball package. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
Prevailing trends in the NFC. Earlier in the year, I did a video that we put on the on socials about Carolina coupled with Ohio State national championships and J-Lo divorces. They made the Super Bowl all previous times that's happened. There's another one that's been brought to my attention, and it involves the Seahawks and the Pope. And anytime since the turn of the century, so it's since 2000, anytime there's been a new Pope, the Seattle Seahawks go 13-3 and make the Super Bowl. So we got a 2-6 chance, or really a 1-3 chance of one of these trends.
How many popes have we had since 2000? Is this the third?
We're on our third.
The other two, both times when we got a new pope and the smoke went black or whatever, or white. Smoke went white. That year, Seattle went 13-3 and went to the Super Bowl.
Yep. This year they went 14-3 because of the expanded schedule, but still a 3-loss season. And they're, according to the trend, are going to the Super Bowl. So it's either going to be them or Carolina.
So they're favorites. So it's hard for me to see Sam Darnold raising a Super Bowl trophy above his head, but he is not the same quarterback he was. So
if he does, I mean, St. Sam.
Yeah, the most wide open playoffs I've seen in a long, long time. I mean, I don't know who the favorite is, but there's nobody that I would put a bunch of money on to win it right now. Probably the Rams still the favorite. I don't know. Seattle.
Yes. Actually, last I looked, it was either Seattle or the Rams, even though the Rams are the finals.
Interesting year. We're going to cover it all right here. Join us next week. Get signed up at FatJackSports.com. For Brandon the Fat Jack, wager responsibly, don't drink and drive. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. You've been listening to the Fat Jack Sports Hour.